What if you had all of the AI generative musical power of Suno natively in a DAW? Which means the ability to generate and edit your audio, change your lyrics, and even do cover songs. But it goes further than that. Haven't you ever wanted to change out the voices in your Suno songs? Maybe even add multiple voices? What about a choir? That's just scratching the surface. Welcome back to the channel where we discuss the creative uses of AI, and I am so excited about showing you the latest update from Ace Studio. I'm going to show you what's so freaking cool about it. If you're brand new to Ace Studio, this is basically an AI-based DAW that allows you to convert vocals into MIDI, and from there, the sky is the limit. You may be able to take your entire Suno workflow and bring it into Ace Studio and immediately be able to do way more with it. So let's take the basic functionality of Suno, which is giving it a prompt and getting a song. In Ace Studio, the way you would do that is just right-click anywhere on the screen. A little menu is going to pop up with AI tools. Inspire Me allows you to do exactly what we're talking about doing. Starting with a prompt, I'd prompt it just like I would do Suno. So I could do something very simple, like B-flat blues riff, traditional blues, which is what I did here. I did not click instrumental, so it's going to generate some lyrics. And when I click on that, it begins the generation process, and we wait just like we do with Suno. Once we get a generation we like, we can drag it right on into the timeline and begin to play with it. Now for this example, I'm going to use one I generated earlier. It's basically the same idea, blues riff. Here's what it sounds like.
Down by the track where the old trains grown.
For this example, I'm going to show you a feature called layering, which if you've played with Suno Studio, you may be familiar with. The idea is that you can create another layer of instrumentation on top of what has already been generated that will work along with it. So let's say, for example, here at the beginning, maybe I'm thinking that sounds a little empty. I want something on there. We can start to play with layering ideas, like for example, maybe a piano. So what we would do is on another track, we would select the area where we want to generate that piano. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose this first four measures here. I'm going to right mouse click on AI tools, click on add layer. And now we have a couple of options. Instrumental is like generating an entire Suno track with layers of instruments. Whereas if you just want to add one instrument like we do now, we would click on the stem and sample loop and we would choose the most appropriate category. In this case, keyboard, and instead of blues guitar riff, which was one here before, I'll change it to laid back piano riff and let that generate. So now you can see that it's working on creating content here for these first four measures. Okay, let's see what it did. It's pretty much following what the guitar did. And even though it's not really appropriate here, let's add a string layer here underneath where he starts to sing. We'll just do that on another track. Right mouse click, click AI tools, click add a layer, click on strings. I'll say light string pad and generate that. So let's see what it gave us.
Down by the track where the old
They gave me a pizzicato and a little bit of a rhythm back there too.
that cut to the bone.
So if we love it, we keep it. If we don't, we don't. If we like parts of it, we can just choose the parts we like. It's just like having it in a DAW. You can copy it, you can edit it, you can move it to new tracks, everything you're used to in a regular digital audio workstation. And even if you just use this feature to add a little seasoning to your Suno generations, it would still be a really cool tool. But that's just the beginning here because, of course, the real power of Ace Studio is changing out and adding all the voices and changing lyrics if you want to, creating harmonies and so on. So let's do that. I am a huge fan of Suno's ability to do cover songs, and I will sit there and sing a goofy song into my phone right off the top of my head and send it through Suno. And here's how I can do it right inside Ace Studio. I'm just going to click the record button here. You can't see it, but there's a little pop-up here that asks me if I want to record nothing, which what, or MIDI, or audio. And I do have a metronome up here, which you're not going to be able to hear, but here we go. You're gonna sit here, watch me do this thing I do. And most of the time, it really falls flat. That's not true, Bob, but I'm gonna tell you that in case this really fails and the cleverness of this begins to trail. Now we have this audio file that I've recorded right here on a track like you're probably used to with your favorite DAW, but watch this. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put some music to this. Oh yes, and how are we gonna do that? We're gonna make sure that the clip is selected. We're gonna right mouse click, and we're gonna go to AI tools, and what we're gonna choose here is music enhancer. This is just like the cover feature in Suno. What you see here are all the sessions that I've done with this tool. So here I want to create a new enhancement, and it's going to be based on this entire track here. So I'm select the whole song and click on continue. Now it's going to look and it's going to analyze the lyrics and the default style. And because I just sang into it a cappella, it's going to basically give us a version of that in the description. So here are the lyrics. You're going to sit here, watch me do this thing I do. There it is. And this is the style that it gave me, an a cappella male vocal performance in a baritone voice. We can prompt it exactly like Suno. We can do something super simple like B-flat blues, male lead, Dixieland band, and click enhance. Or the one that we're probably going to work with is one of my favorite prompts of all time, velvety jazz pop with intimate vocals, lush strings, and a modern vintage glow. I'm going to go ahead and click on enhance and get that going. Okay, we've got our 4 versions, 2 of each. Let's check in on one of those blues ones.
You're gonna sit here, watch me do this thing I do. And most of the time it really falls flat. You're gonna sit here, watch me do this thing I do. And most of the time it really falls flat. That's not true, Bob.
Let's listen to one of the velvety jazz versions.
You're gonna sit here, watch me do this thing I do. And most of the time it really falls flat. That's not true, Bob, but I'm gonna tell you that in case this really fails.
Let's begin on the other one.
You're gonna sit here, watch me do this thing I do. And most of the time it really falls flat. That's not true, Bob, but I'm gonna tell you that in case this really fails.
So this is a perfect case study for A Studio because every time I've run this prompt before, I've gotten this beautiful female voice. I didn't get a female voice this time, and I was going to run it again. I'm going, Bob, you're here to show them how to change voices, so I'm going to choose this one here. I'm just going to drag it on the timeline. Right there. Now you'll see it's a different length and all that stuff. This was the inspiration track, and this is what the model gave us back. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to just mute this channel right now and close this up because we don't need any more. Let's change some voices. But before we do that, we got to use the stem splitter to take the voice out of the track. We just click on the track, we can right click again, and this time the AI tool we use is stem splitter. Now we can just take out the vocal and leave all the instrumental. I'm going to do a little bit more than that. I'm going to do the 6 stem version. You can also extract all extracted stems if you want even more control over the individual tracks. I'm just going to go with this one here. Now we've got all of our tracks separated. This is our vocal track right here. We'll click the solo button here and just check it out for a sec.
You're gonna sit here, watch me do this thing I do.
Okay, there's the voice by itself. Now there's a few ways we can actually convert this. The permanent way and the way with all kinds of flexibility. But let's look at both of them real quick. Here's the voice track. I'm going to right mouse click again and go to AI tools. I'm going to go right to voice changer. Now we have access to all of our voices in our library. We can preview the voices just by clicking on the little icon.
Just step back, boy, I'm a woman ablaze.
So that's Jessica. That's pretty much the vibe I wanted. I'm going to click on Jessica, and then these little controls pop up. And because I've got a lower voice and she's a female, I'm going to go ahead and make the assumption that she's going to sound better if I pop this up 12 semitoned. And I'm going to click on apply and click on convert and let it do its thing. All right, it's converted. Let me unsolo this track here.
You're gonna sit here, watch me do this thing I do. And most of the time
Okay, that sounds a little quiet, but we've got the ability to mess with volume here, but also to add effects. So we're going to take this voice change track, we'll click on effects, we'll click on basic effects, and we can click on reverb. We have all different kinds of reverb here. I'm just going to go ahead and choose Hall, and maybe do a little bit of compression up here and listen.
You're gonna sit here, watch me do this thing I do. And most of the time it really falls flat. That's not true, Bob, but I'm gonna tell you that.
So that's a nice, quick, easy way to change the voice, but you don't have the flexibility of changing the lyrics or changing the vocals further or adding vocals on top of it or turning it into a choir unless you tap into Ace's magical power, which is converting vocals to MIDI and then turning MIDI back into lyrics and voices. We're going to turn off what we just generated here, go back to our vocal selection, and we're going to turn it on so it sees it here. Click AI tools again, and this time say vocal to MIDI. There is a pop-up window that for whatever reason you can't see here, but allows you to choose the conversion model and what the language of the model is. In this case, I'm using version 2, which is their latest model, and I'm choosing the English language and clicking on convert. And now it's looking at all of the vocal information and converting each of my notes into MIDI notes, complete with modulation and pitch bend, and it reads the lyrics. And down here in the editor window, you have access to the lyrics, so if you want to change them completely or fix some that were wrong, you could do that here just by clicking on them and typing, and it will fill in the notes automatically, provided the syllables line up. If not, you can certainly go in there and edit all these. If you want to go into more detail on how this editor works and all the various tools, check out this video here that I did earlier. Of course, the main benefit of having this MIDI data is now we can convert it into as many different voices as we want to. Why don't we go ahead and stick with Rebecca and let's hear what she sounds like right now in this form and not in pre-recorded waveform.
Oh, gonna sit here, watch me do this thing I do.
All right, so right away you can tell that her voice is too low, so we can click into the editor here. And the quick way to fix this is just to click in here and do a select all and hold down the shift key and the up arrow. The whole thing moves up 1 octave, which should be just fine. To demonstrate real quick how easy it is to change the lyrics here, let's just change the lyrics from sit here to stand there. All I gotta do is double click here and just edit it like I would any other text from sit here to stand there, and I'm done.
You're gonna stand there, watch me do this thing I do. And most of the time it really falls flat. It's not.
If we want to add more singers, oh my, there's different ways to do it. If we want the singers to sing the exact same thing, we can use choir mode and just add other layers to this exact same track. So if I click on Lexi and I choose turn on choir mode, now I can add additional voices. Let's say I added Rebecca into the mix and played it.
You're gonna stand there, watch me do this thing I do.
Now we got both of them. We can also adjust the spread of the singers so you can determine how far apart they are in the stereo spectrum. If you move up, they move further apart in the stereo spectrum. Move it lower, they move closer. Now because they are on the same track, if I edit any note data, it edits that data for both the voices. For example, where it talks about falling flat, I think that note kind of falls flat.
And most of the time it really falls flat.
I'd rather it go really falls flat. So let's get into the editor. We just double click and open it up. We're just gonna zoom into where it says flat, and if we click the note, we can hear it. Let's scroll it back a little bit and watch.
Falls flat.
I want it to go flat, so I can just click and drag it. And that's the note I want.
Falls flat.
I can extend it a little because that did cut off pretty quick by just dragging it like that.
It really falls flat.
Perfect. So that's much better, I think much more interesting, and that's how easy it is to change the notes and the lyrics. Now this next line,
It really falls flat. It's not true, Bob.
That's Not True, Bob, was meant to be a call and response. So another singer or another group of singers was meant to say that. Sometimes Suno just does that. This time it didn't, but it's perfect because now I get to demonstrate how we create it ourselves. So first I'm just going to create a vocal synth track. I'll just use any voice. I'll use her for now. I'm just going to click on the timeline here because I'm going to actually drag this on up next to our vocal track with the MIDI data on it because it's just easier to line up. Just going to make sure that part of this window is under these notes that we're selecting. This is the phrase that I want the call and response to do. So now that's selected, I'm going to choose split from the drop-down menu. So now that's going to isolate this. Now I can select it and just drop it down onto this track. Now when I play it, we're going to hear the response in the new voice.
The time it really falls flat. It's not true, Bob. But I'm gonna tell you.
Now, what if we wanted that call and response to be a child's choir? Well, sure, that's a preset. We just go over here, we go to the choir tab for quick and easy finding. You'll see that we have all kinds of choirs here. A gospel choir, let's do the kids' choir because that's what I promised.
You're gonna stand there, watch me do this thing I do. And most of the time it really falls flat. It's not true, Bob.
Having your vocal tracks as MIDI also makes it very, very flexible for adding harmonies, and harmonies that you choose, not some AI. Right at the beginning, there's an opportunity for some harmonization, so let's just duplicate this first track, the melody track. I'm going to open up the editor for this duplicated track. Let's go back to the beginning and listen.
You're gonna stand there, watch me do this thing I do.
So I see an opportunity to take one of these tracks and say,
You're gonna stand there. You're gonna stand there, watch me do this thing I do.
and what if we wanted to add like a trumpet accent on top of the melody right there at the beginning? But not just any trumpet, an AI trumpet that actually sounds realistic, just with AI MIDI notes and no special controllers? What? Let's check it out. We're going to add an AI instrument track down here, and we are going to choose a trumpet. Same idea here. We just click on the timeline. I will then just drag this track up to right under here. I just want the trumpet part to be on top of the first line there.
You're gonna stand there, watch me do this thing I do.
And I want it to be based on this melody line here, not the harmony. I'm going to select this area right here. I'm just going to copy it, go back up to this track and click on paste, and now it is there. Let's listen.
You're gonna stand there, watch me do this thing I do.
Let's take that trumpet and pop it up a little bit more and solo it just so we can hear it. Let's turn on the effects, pop up the reverb a little bit, and we can play with the EQ. Now let's bring it into everything else.
You're gonna stand there, watch me do this thing I do. And most of the time it really falls flat.
If I wanted to, I could bring back in the original singer and make these female voices more of a backup by just lowering the volume and making sure this dude is more prominent.
Watch me do this thing I do, and most of the time it really falls flat. That's
You'll see a couple of things. Number one, we didn't change the lyrics to the guy because he was a WAV file and not MIDI data, and also he sang a little bit different notes than the ladies because we adjusted those when we were in the timeline because we could. So now you could combine all the AI generative power, including the ability to generate completely new songs from scratch, create cover songs like I did at the beginning, and then choose from any combination of their voices and voices you can add yourself. Now you've got more musical creative control than you ever have had before. And truly, I'm just scratching the surface of the potential of this new update. If you've got a studio and you haven't updated, I highly recommend you do it because it's a whole new ball game now. And if you've never checked out A Studio before and you don't know some of its basic functionality and how all the editing works, you got to check out these previous videos so you can get yourself up to speed. Because if you are a musician who wants flexibility and doesn't have a huge budget for a lot of singers and who wants a ton of flexibility, then this is a tool you need to look at. And if these are the types of tools and techniques you like to learn about, well, why not subscribe to this channel? Because this is just the type of thing we talk about all the time.
If you subscribe now, I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you. I will find you. And I